So what about the Asbury revival, Asbury University revival? Well, I think it's been terrific. And I just think it's kickstarting what's happening in this nation. I remember in Joshua where it talked about the Israelites crossing over into the promised land, and the priests went first. And what it talks about that they just started stepping in with just their feet covered with the water. And they started simply, and then you go over to Ezekiel 47, and it talks about the water was ankle deep, and then finally there were waters to swim in. It builds until they were totally out of control. And so I believe that Asbury was a herald of the fact that we are now in that zone. Revival has begun, and that God is getting ready to do something even far greater. It was a foretaste of things to come. It's like the John the Baptist call. Hey, I'm doing something. Wake up. Prepare the way of the Lord to come to this nation. The Asbury revival really, I believe, sent a message that God is getting ready not to break out in manufactured places where we try to make it happen, but in places that were taken by surprise. It doesn't mean that we haven't been preparing. There's never been such prayer in this nation through COVID and following, and there's been a desperation, a hopelessness. We're at our wits' end kind of atmosphere, which always precedes revival. You look at every great revival, and they broke out at the darkest of times. And so there's so many things that parallel great revivals. And then you can look at the Bob Jones prophecy. You can look at this, you can look at that. But it's the birthing of the New Testament church was on the day of Pentecost. And that move was the greatest grassroots movement in history. And I believe that we are moving into the second greatest grassroots movement in history. And we see this. We see it at Asbury, where just a bunch of students stayed after, forgive me for saying it this way, but a boring chapel service. I don't mean the guy wasn't a great guy and everything, but, chapel services can get boring, and it wasn't spectacular in any kind of way, but this group of students just stayed afterwards and began to sing, and what happened? God came, and when he came, they couldn't stop singing, and then more students joined them until it took over the university, and then people heard about it. They started coming from everywhere. And all over the nation, and then other nations started coming to see what was going on and were impacted by it. There wasn't anybody who had notoriety that led the thing. It was all no names. They weren't platform famous and all that. And if people who were famous for whatever reason came, they weren't even given. They weren't even acknowledged. I loved it. And I think that's the way it should be. I believe that it was also a message that God is delivering us from platform celebrity Christianity. I love that, because he's looking for desperate hearts. He's looking for hungry hearts. He's looking for humility. He's looking for surrender. He's looking for brokenness, not brokenness like we're a mess, but brokenness meaning yieldedness to him, like a horse is broken. He yields to his master. A stallion is broken. I'm excited about what I see happening. I'm so encouraged. I go to bed at night singing songs. I wake up in the morning singing songs, not out loud. In my head, they just keep playing, and then I end up singing them out loud. I don't know if anybody's listening. I don't even know if I'm on tune. I listen to Asbury. Some of them weren't even on tune that we're leading, but God doesn't care. He's looking for the hungry, the desperately hungry, those who have no answers and don't even have a way out of their current circumstances unless he comes. I am so excited and so expectant. We are in the middle of this is that.